and moving forward from the UCC tragedy.
We'll say it. Oh, you should get over it. You should get over it. You don't.
Still healing, but not broken. Tonight, we look back at the Roseburg community, 1 year after a shooting at Umpqua Community College took 9 lives.
Honestly, that day really, Roseburg lost its innocence.
In just 12 months, the response has highlighted the school and the city's resilience.
In those immediate days and weeks afterwards, everybody wanted to do something.
Defining what it means to be UCC strong.
We're not giving in, giving up. We're moving forward.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for this special edition of NBC 16 News at 6:30. We are live tonight in Roseburg outside of Umpqua Community College. I'm Stephanie Domerat.
And I'm John Franke. Nearly 1 year ago, on October 1st, 2015, 8 students and 1 teacher lost their lives on this UCC campus. Tonight, we look at the progress, strength, and hope that is still very much alive in this community and take a look at the healing of this area nearly 1 year after one of the most tragic events in our state's history. Part of the healing process, of course, is remembering the victims, and earlier today, bright and early, a moment of silence was held for those who passed away last year. Students and staff gathered at the center of campus as bagpipes played Amazing Grace. The college's Remembrance Committee organized this gathering. There were tears, moments of reflection, and many members of the community coming together to offer comfort to one another. Of course, memorials will continue throughout the weekend here in Roseburg.
That's right. Right now, there is a gathering taking place at St. Joseph Catholic Church. NBC 16's Anthony Costura is there for us tonight. Anthony, how are they honoring these 9 victims?
Well, folks here at St. Joseph Church tonight are really holding a celebration of life. Of course, we experienced a terrible tragedy 1 year ago tomorrow, but these folks obviously remembering a lot of the positive elements of kindness and friendship toward one another. You might be able to hear some of the music and the laughter and the chat that they are holding tonight. They officially dedicated, though, just a short time ago, a memorial today in front of dozens of community members as a celebration of life, as a way to remember the 9 people lost on that day, many of their families in the crowd earlier. And when we say that this was a community effort, we mean it. Roseburg business owners offered their time and talent as a way to contribute to this piece, from the design all the way to the material used. More than 70 volunteers in partnership with several churches around the state collaborated on the celebration of life, both to grieve and also to show kindness.
And I'm tearing up again, see? It doesn't take much. We came together as a whole community, and it was beautiful. And I just felt like the people in Roseburg went out of their way, like in the stores. Gee, how you doing?
Volunteer and church member Jennifer McKenzie there says she's on a mission now to practice what you preach, literally, to show that kindness to one another. She says she rallied her friends for tomorrow's Umpqua Strong 9 and 5Ks that's happening. She's also preparing meals for the homeless community. Of course, volunteers also spent several of the past few days creating these Umpqua Strong lapels that I'm wearing tonight, those ribbons. And they're hoping it's those acts of kindness that folks take to social media using that hashtag from the community college. That's hashtag Umpqua Cares. Just remarkable what these folks are doing here tonight. Reporting from Roseburg, I'm Anthony Costura, NBC 16.
Anthony, thank you. And honoring and remembering the Umpqua 9 has really been the focus of the community over the past year. But another top priority is supporting the victims' families. James Cooper's son, Quinn, was killed last year here on campus.
He said after Quinn's death, he felt lost and alone. But this community of Roseburg came together, and now he finally is feeling that hope again. Kristen Goodwillie has the story of James Cooper.
You know, it's just been a long road. Many times have I wanted to give up.
Quinn Cooper was one of the Umpqua 9. Since his death, his father, James, has been in and out of the hospital.
I couldn't walk. I had nowhere to go.
In declining health, no one to turn to, and out on the streets. James says he had lost hope.
Brian called me It was like I couldn't breathe. Happiness, joy, and I knew I'd be all right.
Brian Trinkle, the director of the Douglas County United Way and Family Liaison, stepped in and helped James get back on his feet and into counseling.
I've just done what I thought was right, and it's to be available and to, to offer support and prayer and whatever I can as a person, as an organization to help them heal and recover.
James now has a group of people from local organizations checking in to see how he's doing.
I don't feel alone like I was.
While James is doing better now, he says he's still trying to heal.
People say that, oh, you should get over it, you should get over it. You don't, Every holiday, every graduation, every event that we used to do, I can't do.
Saying, in a way, he feels robbed. It was his son's first year in college.
And you ask yourself every day, why couldn't we trade places? Because he would have been something. He would have been something good to this community.
James says it means everything that Brian has not given up on him. He says Brian has spent sleepless nights trying to help those affected by October 1st.
It's about the families. It's about helping them heal and recover. So I'm blessed to be a part of it. I really am.
It just feels good to know somebody cares.
In Roseburg, Kristen Goodwillie.
Thanks so much, Kristen. Throughout the week, we've seen this Roseburg community come together, and that happened once again today for the Roseburg Remembrance Ceremony at the Douglas County Courthouse. Local pastor Randy Scroggins gave the invocation, and he was personally affected and touched by this tragedy here at UCC. Ashley Honey has the story.
Nothing in heaven or on earth can separate us from your love that has conquered even death. We pray that we would remember the precious victims of that faithful day and pray for your continued love and healing of their families and each surviving victim that by your grace are still with us today.
Pastor Randy Scroggins joined on the front steps by Sheriff Hanlon and the Douglas County Commissioners.
Take care of our families who are left behind. And oh God, help us as leaders of Douglas County to take care of Douglas County.
One by one, 9 bouquets laid to rest beneath a flag at half-staff.
As we face each new day, we will go forward. We will move on. And by your strength, you will make Douglas County strong.
A ceremony to remember those no longer with us for a community moving forward. In Roseburg, Ashley Honey reporting.
And thanks so much, Ashley. Of course, this community has been healing since that awful day, October 1st of 2015. The process has continued and will continue now for some time, Stephanie.
Yeah, and one group of local leaders says that they've been working together since October 1st of last year to make sure that anyone who was affected by this event is getting the help that they need.
In those immediate days and weeks afterwards, everybody wanted to do something.
Meredith Bliss recalls the aftermath of tragedy at UCC, a horrific event that turned a community upside down, but also together as people jumped to help in any way they could.
So for some people, it was to make a metal sign. For other people, it was T-shirts. For some, it was delivering a meal to a fire station or water.
Meredith serves as the facilitator for a community healing and resource team, a group working over the last year to provide comfort in the face of trauma. Within hours of the shooting, the group of about 80 public service and health experts gravitated toward each other to collaborate. Help also came from across the country, from a community who knew the pain too well.
We had people from Newtown who called our Starbucks and bought free drinks for a huge number of people who came through Starbucks on a particular Saturday morning.
In the weeks following, groups from Sandy Hook and Virginia Tech arrived in Roseburg.
It's almost like pay it forward. We're finding that these groups experience things and what worked and what didn't work well and what they learned from those events.
Fire Chief Greg Marler represents first responders in the community program. For his team, the loss was deeply rooted.
One of our firefighters lost a son and one of our paramedics lost a cousin, so it was very personal to our organization.
Team Chair and Douglas County Commissioner Tim Freeman also has a tie to UCC.
My son was on campus. He was actually in the library next to where the shooting occurred, so the very next building.
For people with a tie to UCC, Roseburg, or Douglas County, no matter where they were on October 1st of 2015, Chief Marler says they are all affected and united, part of a community that's demonstrated compassion and strength.
Although our organization has changed forever from that event, we're certainly not going to allow that to define what we are and what we become.
And now, a year later, the healing has begun, of course, but the community healing and response team says that their work is far from over. They've actually applied for federal and state funding to help for that ongoing costs of the recovery efforts, and they will continue to provide mental health services to anyone who may need it. And as students and community members are moving forward and trying to rebuild after last October 1st, the school will literally be going under reconstruction.
That's right. Snyder Hall is where the tragedy took place, and deciding what to do with that building has been a months-long process, and the school and this community actually got survivors involved and took their input as to what should happen to that building.
Seeing the new beginning, the kind of rising from the ashes, so to speak, coming up, I think it will mean a lot to see that change and healing.
Betty Tam has a decade of experience on the UCC Board of Trustees, and she's also a member of the committee tasked with redeveloping Snyder Hall, the site where 9 innocent people lost their lives. It's a delicate job that will leave an imprint on the campus for decades.
It's really important for the community and the recovery, as well as just making a much more functional, approachable, usable building, and something that doesn't exactly emulate what's there right now.
Last winter, the Oregon legislature approved a $4.25 million grant to rebuild Snyder Hall. Malum Architects, based in Portland, designed the new building and is working on the final plans. It's complete with state-of-the-art classrooms, better security features, and even a garden. But one thing you won't find in the new Snyder is a memorial. Survivors of the tragedy want it that way.
Some of them who were on the committee were actually in the room during the shooting, so they were very emotionally connected to it, but they didn't want it to be a memorial where you could go to the exact same place and say this is where it happened. They wanted a building different enough that you couldn't really find that spot.
Rebuilding Snyder Hall is just one more step in the healing process for the UCC community. Vacant now, the structure is a symbol and scar of an unthinkable tragedy. But soon, this site will make way for a place where the hopes and dreams of generations of students will come to life.
It's critical for both our campus and for our community to really start anew, sort of turn a page.
We're not giving in, giving up. We're moving forward.
Now, the architecture of many of the buildings here on the UCC campus is very unique, so the new Snyder Hall will actually resemble that architecture. They'll use some of the stones and the timber from the deconstructed Snyder Hall in the new building. They'll deconstruct Snyder Hall this fall, and they hope to have the new building ready within about a year. And as for a memorial site on campus, a new committee will be formed after October 1st to decide on where to place that. Of course, that is not the only change taking place on this UCC campus.
They also have a new president this year. Dr. Deborah Thatcher started and took office at the beginning of this year. And she says a big reason why she chose to come to this school is because of the resiliency and the strength that she's seen here in Roseburg.
And the thing that I found so attractive about Umpqua was the community, because Umpqua had gone through some very difficult things, but what what became apparent was this was a strong, resilient community that really believed in its community college, really supported its community college, and what an exciting thing to be a part of a college and a community that valued education and the role of the college in the community.
Well, the board chose Dr. Deborah Thatcher, the new college president, after considering close to 50 applicants for the position. And coming up on NBC 16 News from Roseburg tonight from Umpqua Community College, we have more of our special coverage, including how one elementary school is honoring one of the victims of last year's shooting.
And we'll also look at how doctors who did so much to help those who were shot last year are handling things now, 1 year after the shooting. And welcome back to our live coverage of the 1-year anniversary of the tragedy at Umpqua Community College. We are just outside the campus tonight, remembering the survivors and the healing process here 1 year later.
The doctors and administrators at Mercy Medical Hospital are looking forward tonight and moving forward. NBC 16's Ellen Menny has their story.
It has been 1 year since the tragic shooting at Umpqua Community College. We visited Mercy Medical Center in Roseburg to see how that day changed them and now how they're moving forward.
We've had events and incidents that were similar in terms of tragedy, in terms of theme, but nothing on that scale.
As the events continue to unfold, I think the gravity really began to take effect. And honestly, that day really Roseburg lost its innocence.
There was a shared pain throughout the region, a trauma that didn't escape the medical professionals at Mercy Medical Center.
Thinking that you can do so without being impacted is like thinking you can swim through water without getting wet.
Mercy Medical Center continues to concentrate on the mental health of their employees, offering counseling, retreats, and therapy.
So people that were involved in the event, providing service in the event, were deeply impacted by that.
But Dr. Gray says the impact of the tragedy has also become a call to action, extending beyond the hospital.
Out of such a horrific event, what's really exciting is to see the good that has come of it, to see the community come together.
From improving access to mental health care to brainstorming ways to make Roseburg more livable, Price says the community continues to strive for positive change.
To ensure that we put initiatives into place and programs into place that will help foster healing and help reduce violence in our community.
Mercy Medical Center plans to bring in trauma experts mid-October to help all levels of medical staff continue to deal with their trauma and heal. In Roseburg, Ellen Menny reporting.
Well, Ellen, thank you. And today, Trevin Anspaugh, one of the UCC victims of the shooting last year, was honored by his former elementary school.
West Intermediate School actually dedicated a bench in Trevin's honor today. It's being called the Buddy Bench, and it has a very special dedication. It's a place where students can go to form friendships on the playground. That type of positivity, family and friends say Trevin displayed every day.
He was an enthusiast. He did everything in life with passion, and most importantly, he took care of other people. And so this will keep that spirit of Trevin's going at our school.
Trevin's bench was funded by the faculty at West Intermediate School. It was constructed by students at the local high school.
Well, one of the memorials going on this weekend, as we mentioned, there will be several tributes, several memorials, and one of them will be happening tomorrow. It is a 9K run with each kilometer representing one of the 9 victims. More than 1,500 people will be crossing that finish line tomorrow for the event, pounding the pavement together as a community in healing and united. But Greg Kovac will cross the finish line a little differently with a weight of 230-pound hero on his shoulder, all to honor Trevin Anspaugh.
And of course, that will get underway tomorrow, and the memorials will continue all day throughout the weekend as people here in Roseburg remember the lives lost and the survivors and everybody who helped out. It's been a community coming together, and of course, we want to thank that Roseburg community for allowing us to be here this afternoon.
Yeah, all of us here at KMTR, NBC 16, our prayers, our hearts are with the community of Roseburg and Douglas County, and we do, like John mentioned, want to thank everyone for allowing us to come and tell their stories, the stories of a united community, of resiliency, of strength, of community that's been just really overwhelming and pretty incredible. So we thank you for allowing us to tell your stories.
And we want to send it right back now to the studio for Justina and Chris. Chris Nation has a look at your weather for the weekend for all those memorials that will be taking place on Saturday.
Oh yeah, and we're probably looking at wet conditions for Memorials. John, showers off and on, but the chances of showers continue into next week. I'll tell you all about the approaching storm system up next.
And now weather with Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation.
Good evening. We're going to do a brief weather because we're running out of time. Here's the storm system at this point. There's the cold front. The last 12 hours, it's still marching towards us. Cores rotating around each other. Cold front will spread in, and it will keep doing this as it brings showers off and on over the next 48 hours. There's another system behind that one. We go to the wide futurecast. The first cluster of energy keeps our weekend wet as we move through on the futurecast. Last core will actually lift up over us from Monday to Tuesday because the highs will push it up towards us and back in. Then we've got two more systems out there for the middle to late part of next week. We're going to take a quick check of the futurecast for you, show you what's in play there, putting it into motion for you. There's the main core, secondary core sweeping through. See the showers off and on. So we're not talking constant rain. We're talking showers here and there, back and forth. We're going to continue to see that happen with isolated energy all the way through your weekend, maybe even snow, anything below about 3,400 feet. We're going to take a quick check of the rain totals. We'll get you to a break, and then we'll show you the 7 days coming up. Latest computer models show us about 1 inch to about 1/3 of an inch in most locations. As I mentioned, we'll be back in just a few moments with all 3 of your 7 days. So we're back. We're going to give them their 7 days, but we're going to talk about the storm system for a minute since we have a tiny bit of time. Let's get to it. I want to show you what's going to happen tonight. 51 at midnight, mostly cloudy skies. In the morning, that becomes 45, 40 to 60% chance of showers there. Guess what? In the afternoon, it goes up to 80. This thing is a done deal. The question now is not if, but how much rain and how steady versus off and on it'll be. Up into the Cascades, tonight's low is 31, a degree below freezing. And you know what that means? We're talking snow on the valley floors up there, or at least the roads anyway. Anything above about 3,900 feet, all 6 passes may see snow in the next 48 hours. Be prepared for that if you're traveling. On the water, 20 to 30 knots, waves 3 to 6 feet. It is Friday, and we guarantee you that we got to get you this green grass gauge. So this week's level coming up is 0.68. That's how much water you have. But given the rain, you may not need it. Now, of course, this being the anniversary, I want to go and just take one moment for everyone here at the news to just say, you know, we stand with you, that you're in our thoughts and prayers. And it's a horrible tragedy, but we're all getting through it together as a community and united together. On the coast, 90% chance Saturday and Sunday, 61-59. That drops to 70% chance Monday and Tuesday with the second system. Roseburg, 63 and 58 for your weekend, mostly cloudy skies. 80% chance of showers off and on. 1/3 of an inch to a 1/2 inch is possible. 40% chance Monday and Tuesday. I think that second system will go a little far north for you guys. For Eugene and Springfield, 80% chance Saturday and Sunday. The sun could peek out now and then, but the main theme here is showers off and on, mostly cloudy skies. Temps in the low 60s to upper 50s. Second system moves in right behind the first one to give you a 60% chance of showers off and on Monday into Tuesday. And that one looks just as strong with 64 and 58. And guess what? There is a third system now on our data out there for next weekend. So we went right into fall. They're stacking them up. The rain's finally moving in.
All right, Chris, we'll get ready for that rain. And thank you so much for joining us for NBC 16 News at 6:30. We'll see you back here at 11.